it really has kind of become our passion this last year, is to try to make sure we're over delivering on the customer's experience. And that's really, I think that would probably, if I had to say frontier in a nutshell, that would really be everything that we were trying to do, is just over deliver the customer experience.
Hi, everybody, and thank you again for listening to the Kick Your Boots Up podcast. This episode is a unique one of its own. I know I say that a lot, but this one, you're not going to want to miss out. Stay tuned for the very end. We have something really, really fun in store, and I don't want to give anything away, so I'm going to stop it right there. But without further ado, I've got to introduce this guest for this week. And really, he doesn't need an introduction. I'm going to introduce him as the Executive Vice President of Sales here at Justin Brands. But what I think matters most about him is that he is a husband to his wife, Jordan. He's a father of 2 boys. And interestingly enough, which you'll get to hear more about, he got a Bachelor's of Science degree at Ohio University for exercise psychology. So there's a lot to talk about right there. And it makes sense why you're sitting in this chair right here at Justin.
Right.
Yeah. And we're so happy that you're here. So thank you for clearing your schedule and being here with us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And something that's unique about you is you're just like so loyal to Justin, and it didn't really always happen that way. So I have so many questions, but I guess to get started, tell us about how you grew up and your family's experience in the industry and all of that.
Yeah, so I grew up in Ohio, and my family owned a chain of shoe stores. So they still do. They still have them to this day. So my whole family, when you go to holidays at my house, everybody talks about shoes the entire time. So I grew up in a shoe store. We had a little bit of everything. We were a full family shoe store. So they had everything from kids' boots to athletic shoes to Uggs, work boots, you name it.
Wow.
If you need it, they've got it. And that was kind of what I grew up in. So it was great. I got exposed to not just one piece of the business, but I got exposure to a lot of it at a young age. But that's my family's business. I mean, it was a family business. So everybody was, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, everybody was in the business all the time. My grandparents started it. And yeah, so I didn't always think of it as going to the store. It was more just like going to see my family. And
That's how you got to spend time together.
It was really how we spent all of our free time together. So we were all in the store doing something, but it was just such a great experience growing up. I loved it. The shoe store, I mean, just the footwear business in general, it's some of the just best people in the industry. And so at a young age, I got to meet, I would see reps come in from all over the place. So just a really cool experience growing up. And then, outside of that, I was a typical kid growing up in Ohio. Played football, motorcycles. That was pretty much it. I mean, if I wasn't doing any of those things, I was in school. So it was pretty normal.
Yeah, normal for you,
well,
it feels like.
Me, yeah.
And I've got to ask you then too, with you having the career that you do and even your past jobs, which we'll talk about in a second, do you think that your family's store kind of set you up for this passion for shoes that you had? Because you even went on to get a degree in that. So
yeah, absolutely. I tried to leave. I tried to leave the footwear business, and that was actually my dad. My dad had kind of encouraged me to do that. I found my way back to it over and over again, and I don't know what it is about it. I think it's something my whole family's discovered, but it's become my passion. I love product. I love just getting to help people, because that's really what you're doing. I mean, most of the time the product, sometimes you're solving for a problem that they've got. So I like just getting to help people and try to solve that problem with them. And, I think for me, it was, I tried multiple times to make my way out of the industry. My dad had encouraged me, he saw the medical field becoming a bigger piece, and I had a couple of injuries, and so I'd been exposed to different things on the medical side for a while. Ooh. And so it did pique my interest, which is thus the exercise physiology degree. Okay. I decided I was going to go and kind of switch my major up. So I started off in business, and then I made the change to try to get out and go a different direction. And then I had to wait to get into grad school. And so while I waited to get into grad school, I went back to work with my family, and that's what set everything in motion to start me on my path today.
And I think it worked out for you now that you're sitting here in this chair.
It ended up being great. Now, in hindsight, I don't know that I would have ever imagined doing anything else. I love what I do, but yeah, I mean, there was a brief period of time where I was making the effort to go a different direction. So.
Yeah. And you ended up here, and we're so thankful you did. But I think part of your story is really cool. We were just talking a little bit off of the camera before the podcast started about how, in Rodeo, I grew up brand loyal. I was always loyal to Justin, loyal to that. But you were also loyal to Justin in a different way. And it started with your dad's store.
Yep.
But tell us about your first experience with Justin years and years ago before you even got started really as an adult.
I remember Justin when they just got into the work boot business in a big way. So they were doing all the product here in the U.S. And so at the time in my family stores, they had just grown to be one of the most loved brands in our area. And so at one point they were the second largest brand in our store and second only to Nike. And so like to me at the time when you have such a wide market they were reaching in the athletic market, it just showed the importance of that brand and the impact that it had and what it meant to people out there. So so I got exposed to the brand at a pretty young age. And so for me, I was always loyal. That was actually my first pair of Western boots myself, was a pair of Justin's. We had a great rep at the time. He's now retired. And he hooked me up with my first pair, and I've been brand loyal ever since.
And I think that even led you to, like, upon graduation, applying for jobs. Tell me about your experience there.
Yeah, so I had to wait to get into grad school. So at the time, when I graduated, we were on quarters. And so all of grad schools were on semesters. So when I wrapped up my last quarter, I had already missed the cycle to start grad school. So I had to wait, almost 10, 11 months to get in.
Wow.
So in that time, I went back, I was working with my family's business. And so I had a rep come in, and our Justin rep is actually the one who told me about an opportunity that they might have. So they had a tech rep role. So actually my very first interview out of college was with Justin. And so they flew me down here. I was 20, I would have been 22 at the time. It was a big deal. They flew me down. I got to go do the whole interview process. I got to come to the building.
As a youngster.
So it's really cool now. Like when I came back, everything's exactly as I remembered.
Wow.
So it's great. But they left a really positive impression on me at that point. And so like to me, when it came to like pull-on or Western product, there wasn't anything else.
Yeah, no. And even past that too, like what a full circle moment you got to have. And we'll talk about that side of it in just a second, but to kind of get you in between your first opportunity here that you ended up it did not work out. It was not in your plans.
No,
you went a different route as a 21-year-old, rightfully so. You had to figure things out. To go through all of your past experiences, talk about that a little bit, because that obviously got you here and got you to the position that you're in now. So talk about that.
Yeah, so when I did my first interview, and then the very next week I had another company that was, so I had to go up to Michigan and do an interview, and they ended up actually offering me something that same weekend. And that's really, Justin actually came back and offered me a job, but I'd already relocated across the country to take my first opportunity. And so I really went into it with the mentality of, all right, hey, I'm going to go and do this for 10, 11 months, and then I'm going to get into grad school, and I'll go back and go to school.
Okay.
And then once I got on this side of the business, of the footwear side, so when I say on this side, the wholesale side versus being at the retail level, I just fell in love with it in a whole new way, and kind of relit my passion that I had for the footwear industry. And so to me, I got into grad school. I decided, it was a pretty quick decision. I'm not coming back. I like what I'm doing. And so that company had moved me across the country. So I moved away from my family, went to Colorado, took my first opportunity. I'd never been out west before in my entire life. So it was all new to me. Everything was, it was just cool to get to discover it and kind of grow in the industry, learn about this whole side of the business and how to service not just one store, because that's really, when you grow up in a family business, you only see what your family did. Yeah. So I loved getting exposed to how all of these different independent retailers and retailers of all types, how they ran their business and things that there were to learn from everyone. And so I don't know what it was about it, but it just it was immediate. I instantly knew this is what I was supposed to be doing, and I've been doing it ever since. So I was with that company for a while in the tactical business. So I learned a lot about just how to service your accounts. It's it's a very tough business to be in as far as development of product, because it's all pretty much one color. So
let me guess, brown.
No, it's actually black. It's black in the
Okay.
tactical business. All your
Weird.
your law enforcement and a lot of your EMS and firefighters, they all have to have black boots. So it was great. But it's more difficult to sell that kind of product. So service, like true service and taking care of people, is what really stands out to others and kind of helps you put yourself in a better position. And so that's really where I learned a lot of now, kind of what I talk to our team about, is service and taking care of people. So that really is kind of where I learned some of those elements. And then the next company I went to was kind of in the outdoor hike and work category.
Ooh, okay.
And I just very grateful to them. I learned a ton about just, again, how to I've already learned the service aspect of the business, but they taught me a lot about how to build a brand, how to, what it is to go to and try and achieve brand momentum, and what does that look like from a product standpoint, and what is it that you how to learn the development cycle, because when you see something at retail, you're already 2 years behind. And so it's about thinking forward. And I learned just a tremendous amount. I had a couple of really great teachers there, so that taught me a lot about the business. And so I eventually just hit a point that I had decided that I wanted to branch out beyond that category, and I wanted to try to get back to the Western business at some point in my career. I just didn't know when. And so I decided to start kind of looking for a new opportunity that would let me make an impact that I wanted to make. And I just so happened to see that Justin had a job, and it was exactly that opportunity. So,
well, talk about that a little bit more then, because I think you said you saw the job pop up and you kind of waited a week or whatever.
I stared at it for a week because I knew I'd have to move to Texas. And so my poor wife, I'd made her move all over the place. And so it would be another move. And then I stared at it for a little bit because to me at the time, it was like, okay, I've been with this other company for the last 8+ years. Am I ready to make the jump? Or sometimes the idea of making the jump versus actually pulling the trigger and doing that.
Yes.
Two different things. And so that's really kind of what I sat with. Talked to my dad, talked to people I really admired, a mentor of mine as well. And then they really kind of helped me sort that out of like, okay, is this something you want to do? And so, I just decided to throw my name in the hat. And literally the next day I got a phone call and was starting the whole process. And then as I went through the process, it was just so natural. It felt like this is exactly what I was supposed to do. So it really worked out great.
Yeah, so good to hear too, especially since you did have to relocate your family.
Yeah.
And I think I held on to a few things that you said through that, because there's a lot of girls and guys out there that are listening to this podcast that are, younger, 20s, almost 30s. And we've got so many life decisions to make. And so it was really cool to hear your perspective through that.
Yeah.
And the fact of like, you thought grad school was the only option, and then you turned right around and got a job. And that so many people that happens to daily. There's a few people here even that work at Justin that are like, well, I was going to go to grad school, but then I got this job and it got me here. And so thank you for sharing that with us. I think there's a lot of people out there that needed to hear that.
Yeah, I've always learned you just got to be willing to kind of take the risk. You kind of have to look at, all right, what is it that I want to do? This was a mentor of mine that told me this, but what is it that you want to do with your career? Or what is it that you have a passion for? Try to chase your passions, because that's typically where it's going to lead you to something that you're going to be really happy and fulfilled doing. And so that's really what I did. I had to convince my wife that this is what I want to do. This is my passion. And I'm very blessed. She's super supportive of everything I want to do in my career. And yeah, it really worked out.
Oh, yeah, it definitely did. And there's so much more to talk about, but we're almost out of time for this portion. When we come back, we're going to talk about all things we have in the future of Justin. So you're not going to want to miss out. So we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Some people find comfort in sitting still, but not you. You were born to explore, to seek out adventure, to live life to its fullest. You follow your own path and blaze your own trail. You understand there's a whole world out there, and nothing will keep you from experiencing it. Discover the Frontier Collection from Justin Boots. We've outfitted the Frontier for nearly 150 years. Find your Frontier today at justinboots.com.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Kick Your Boots Up podcast. I forgot to say this before, so if you're listening and you like what you hear, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, leave us a review. We want to hear it all, so be sure and do that. But before we move on to our next thing, I do want to say we're here with Shane Selsby. He is the VP of the Executive Vice President, actually, of sales for here at Justin Brands, and he has a huge important announcement that happening this week. We are going to be launching the Frontier Collection.
Frontier.
This is Shane's favorite collection, I would say. I'm deeming that for yourself.
It is. It's the one I've poured probably by far the most time and effort of just making sure this came out perfect. So, and
I guess for everyone out there that doesn't know, I mean, you hear the name Frontier and you think, what is that? So Shane, what is the Frontier Collection?
So first off, I'm really excited that this is finally here, because this is something that we've been like pouring a lot of time and effort in to make sure we got right. But Frontier for us is just going to be for us, it's a new collection to try to make sure that we had a boot that worked for everybody, that incorporated a lot of what I think is important to people, right now, as far as how they look at the product, not just from Western, but just in all types of product with athletic and everything else. And how do we incorporate a lot of those elements into Western products so that we can make, something feel as good as a tennis shoe, but look like a Western boot. So
that's a good goal to have too.
It was, it sounds simple, but there's a lot of layers of like complexity to how do we accomplish that. And so it was a really fun project to work on this past year. And we're really excited that it's finally here.
It is finally here. And I'm genuinely curious because normally product development will be the ones that do like the spearheading of the product. But I think in this particular situation, correct me if I'm wrong, you kind of saw a need that needed to be met and you went to PD, right?
Correct. And that's, it really started with talking to our customers. So I started, actually, funny enough, we started this my third week on the job.
Oh, wow.
So on the second week on the job, we had the WISA trade show. So that is the biggest trade show in our Western business for footwear. Really for a lot of categories, but for the footwear industry for sure.
Yeah.
And what we did is I really wanted to start by talking to our customers and trying to learn, okay, what is it that's important in their mind? And that's the great thing about this industry. The people are salt of the earth. So they'll not only offer their feedback, but they're pretty constructive about how they lay it out for you. And, it's funny, you talk to enough people, some of the same elements kind of start appearing and it becomes pretty clear what needs to be, what you need to do and what you need to focus on. And so for me, just in 1 week, it became pretty clear. The same elements kept coming up. And so, to me, it came back to, okay, well, what does that look like? And so it's funny enough, I was talking to our product developer one day, Bubba, and he had this boot just sitting on his desk, and I saw it like right out of the corner of my eye, and I knew it right away. That was it. Instantly, that was what our customers were talking about. And so I go and I start having a conversation with him, and he starts breaking down like, oh yeah, that's something we already had in the line, but there were some challenges around it. I think we had missed some of the price targets on it, and I think for us, there was a way to redo that boot, and do a couple things. We wanted to modernize our brand's image. At that time, because we felt like it was an opportunity with more and more young people coming into the brand and discovering Western for the first time, that it was time for us to, we wanted to maintain the brand's legacy, but we could update the looks a little bit. And so that's really what we set out to do. And so that's where I kind of took the whole project to our product developer.
Wow.
He sat down, him and I kind of set price targets. And then we kind of sat down and discussed, like, what do we want the end goal to be? And then once we kind of had it cemented in both of our minds of what we wanted to achieve, then we started kind of working backwards to figure out, okay, what are the components that we can put into this? How do we achieve these simple things that we wanted to focus on? And that's really what we did. It was just bit by bit. We kind of chipped away at it until we felt like we got it perfect.
I couldn't agree more. And it's really cool to see there's actually 12 boots in this collection, which is a fairly large collection for it to not only be a new collection added to the release, but also 12 boots and 12 styles. So talk about why you guys felt like there needed to be 12 and what sets them apart. Why was this created? What are some of the things that you talked about?
Yeah, so you might not know this, but they actually started out as just 6.
Oh, wow.
It started out as just 6. It was originally just going to be the Vibromount sole versions. And again, that's credit to my product development team. They said, oh yeah, you know what? We think we can actually get one done in time so we can launch it together as a bigger collection. Is that something you want to do? Absolutely. And so we brought in another product developer to start designing the looks of what that next boot would look like. And so it was so perfect when they came in, everything completely tied together. It was really over-delivered on what I was hoping to achieve with this, so it was really gratifying.
Oh, definitely. And I think within so I guess starting with the 6 and adding the 6, something that's really unique about them is the different stitch pattern colors and vibrant colors. Now, these are only 2 of them, and they're not super bright, so this isn't really a great representation, but if you go online at justinboots.com, you can see the bright colors. But what was the idea there?
So it was really, there were 3 elements that we were trying to own from the get-go. And so the first one was the look. So the look was, to me, I think that's the most important. That's the thing that catches everybody's eye. That's the thing that makes you want to pick the boot up when you're at retail in the first place. So for us, it was just about doing a couple of different things. We wanted to make sure that the leather materials, that the colors came out just right, that they were bright enough to catch eye, but they worked with the stitch pattern well. We were very adamant that the stitch pattern had to look a certain way and that it had to be a 10-row stitch because it kind of adds that extra layer of quality and look, but it also helps you integrate color better. You can kind of weave color into the stitch patterns a little bit nicer. So It helps pull some of the colors out in the boot. So for us, we were really just big on and very meticulous on making sure that the stitch pattern looked a certain way, flowed a certain way, that the colors all tied in a certain way. We picked all the colors. It's funny, we debated for weeks of what the color combinations needed to be. So what we did, we sat and we handpicked everything out for weeks, debated until we felt like we had dialed into the 12 best. And that's really what we moved forward with.
I think that's really cool mentioning, because a lot of people out there maybe don't spend as much time, or at least don't have as many people doing like a group think. And so I think it is cool for you guys to have the open concept that you do, and to have that open relationship with product development to get exactly what you want.
Well, and it's funny because we were also trying to do something different here that hadn't been done before. So it wasn't just about the stitch pattern or the materials, but we wanted to modernize. We keep talking about modernizing the brand's image, but as we bring a younger consumer into the market and they're discovering Western for the first time, we kind of traditionally always stamped our name on the side. So just to kind of clean up the aesthetic and modernize it a little bit. Everybody knows Justin for the red J.
Yeah.
And so we were trying to find cool ways that how could we incorporate that in? So we actually put that into the pull strap and the pull hole. And it just kind of created a new look that didn't look like anything that we had already had in our product line.
That's right, yeah.
So it wasn't just stitch pattern. It was actually a lot of things that we had to get everybody to agree on all at once. But it really, we couldn't have been happier with how it turned out.
No, I couldn't agree. And then going off of that as well, one thing that comes to mind whenever you mention someone that's younger, falling in love with the brand. I remember when I was in my young 20s, and even now, let's be honest, but I was broke as a joke. I wanted something that I could just go to the store and not feel too bad about, I guess, buying really quick. So the price point is a great selling point as well, I think.
100%. And that was it. So it was, that was our third and our final thing of like, when we finally got to it, we wanted to make sure that we delivered a look that kind of lent, because the one nice thing about Justin, we've been around for 145 years. So we've got a long legacy of just iconic styles and looks.
Yeah.
And so the challenge on us was, how do we maintain those same looks? We maintain what the brand's image has been. We modernize it a little bit, bring it into today's world, and then add in the components that people are looking for. So they want cushion. They want that instant gratification. They want it to feel like an athletic shoe. And that was really some of our other challenges that we did. So the second thing we worked on was really the cushion aspect, is how do we make that feel like an athletic shoe? And, so that as soon as you put it on, and we wanted no break-in time. So we were very meticulous about the leathers that we chose so that it had, practically no break-in time, and that it felt as good as a tennis shoe or better. Because you look at athletic market, and it has really it's exploded the last couple of years with that max cushion.
Of course.
And I say that it's really thick cushion athletic shoes. And so, we were trying to incorporate that into this product as well. But then that last bit was, how do we get all of these components together and then give the customer something that they want at that price? And we didn't feel like anybody was doing that in the market, and we felt like that was our challenge and our opportunity.
It's a very big opportunity, and I think you guys did it well. I mean, truly, I've put one on just to say that I have, to see what it feels like, and it's very comfortable. So, I mean, anyone out there, if you go to a store and you want to try it on, that's probably the best piece of advice I could give, because this one and then some more boots that we have in the works, they also feel
more to come.
Yes, they feel so comfortable. So, thank you for sharing that. And then just overall, if you could just have one story about Frontier and what it means to you, just tell us really quick before we take a break.
I think to me, it was funny because I spent that time at the show talking to our customers. And to me, everybody describes their own version of what we need to do.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But the same themes came back out, and it was those three themes that we kind of honed in on. And so it was funny, but the most gratifying thing was when we finally got to show the retailers. We worked on this really hard for 6 months. And again, I'll give some credit to the product development team. They had to move at warp speed to get this done in the development cycle. And for everything to turn out as good as it did in that short period of time, it was really amazing to have that work, recognized by our customers when they saw it, because the response right out of the gate for us was tremendous on the just the overall feedback from our customers. And so it was a great experience. And for us, we wanted this product to be something that everybody could enjoy, everybody could wear. It had something that appealed to everyone in a different way, and so it really has kind of become our passion this last year, is to try to make sure we're over delivering on the customer's experience. And that's really, I think that would probably if I had to say Frontier in a nutshell, that would really be everything that we were trying to do, is just over deliver the customer experience.
Oh, yeah. And I can't believe I didn't even bring this up before. With the name Frontier, we had the opportunity to kind of almost partner with Frontier Rodeo Company.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then more specifically, Frontier Rodeo Coffee. So I believe every boot in this collection is going to be named after a Frontier Rodeo Company stock, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
That's so cool. So if you have a certain bull or rough stock horse out there that you are so excited about, this is another opportunity. You get to cheer them on with the boot. The name of the boot. Yep. And then the other side of it is we're really big, and everyone out here knows by now that the Justin Cowboy Crisis Fund is one of our things that we contribute to. We put on, we host. And so a portion of the Frontier Rodeo Coffee also goes to the JCCF. So it's just like this beautiful triangle of giving and meeting needs and all of it. So I think that's cool.
Yeah. We're very blessed to have such great partnerships.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then selfishly, I can't help but ask, as a female, are there going to be any female boots coming soon?
There are. So that was actually our intention, was to try to get this out in the original run. So, but the problem we had was we couldn't get everything put together to get the ladies put together in time. There's a specific ladies last that you have when you make products, that you're not just taking a men's fit and trying to morph it down to that women's size scale.
Which we appreciate. Thank you.
Yes. So that delayed us just a little bit because we were pushing this project out so quick. So we just couldn't get it out in time for this one, but we are showing ladies right now that'll hit retail in fall.
Wow. And then even the last part of it. So I know what a last is. You know what a last is because we work here. But those of us out there that don't know, explain what a last is and why that's important.
The last is just the overall shape of the boot, essentially. It's how it fits. And obviously men and women have different shaped feet. And they have a different fit and different parts of the boot that are more important to make sure that they hit a certain way or they sit a certain way on the foot. So to make sure that the fit is perfect, we develop separate lasts. So that last is what helps make a men's boot fit a certain way and a lady's boot fit a certain way. And so we already had the men's already developed, and we had to develop the ladies.
You know what? I think it's worth the wait on the ladies' boots in because it sounds like they're going to be perfect.
They are. They look great.
Yeah.
It's actually funny. We've started to show some of the sales team, and they are already jealous about the women's combinations, asking about, can we incorporate them? Yeah.
Yes. No, I completely agree. I'm so excited about them. So that's good to know too. Yep. Well, thank you for listening this far. If you've made it this long, stay tuned because up next we have a super fun game that Shane doesn't even know about. So we're going to get set for that. And when we return, we'll be ready to cheese it up. Stay tuned and we'll see you again.
Step into the legendary style of the King of Country with the George Strait collection from Justin Boots. Fit for a king, these boots boast an advanced cushioning system and are crafted with the finest exotic leathers, embodying George's iconic comfort and stage-worthy presence.
Make sure to check out the George Strait collection from Justin Boots, standard of the West since 1879.
Find yours today at justinboots.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Kick Your Boots Up podcast. We've reset just a little bit. If you notice, we've now prepped for the game. And, everyone at Justin is very open. We have lots of open conversations. And the word on the street, Shane, is that you're going through this like carnivore diet experience right now. And we couldn't help but laugh at you, the marketing team. You have a cheese cubes in the fridge, and it's like a month's supply of cheese cubes, it feels like. Anyway. Yep. So with that, we figured you're probably the cheese expert here at the office.
Okay.
And so we want to be able to let you try some cheese on behalf of the marketing department and tell us what cheese is which. And so basically how this is going to happen is as you feel whichever one you want to taste, you can taste it, have your guess, and then I'll tell you if you're right or wrong. And then if you win, you get bragging rights to be the cheesiest person in the office.
All right, I'll take it. All right, we're going to start with one that I semi-recognize.
Okay. And then I guess while he's chewing, there's a cheese fact that I want to tell you because there's more than 2,000 varieties of cheese in the world. So you're lucky that we just picked 5.
Yeah, thank you. Ooh. All right. I'm going to guess Gouda?
That's a good guess, but it's not Gouda. It's white sharp cheddar.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I should have known that one.
It's probably the best one on the plate. I don't know. Okay, next. So you might already know what this one is just by, maybe not.
Mozzarella?
It is mozzarella.
Okay,
That's good.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I know what this one is, but we'll see. Blue cheese?
Blue cheese. Disgusting blue cheese.
Yeah, it's
I don't know if
okay.
you guys know this or not, but there's 20 million metric tons of cheese produced each year. And I can't believe that blue cheese is one of them. It's my
right.
least favorite, I think, personally.
I can do it in certain things. I've
Yeah.
never eaten it just plain before, though.
Okay, up next, what is it going to be? I think this one's obvious probably to you too. If you guys can't watch, you need to watch right now. Tune in on YouTube. You can go to our website. This is amazing.
Oh, man. Is this one Gouda?
It is Gouda,
right.
smoked Gouda.
I should have known it on the first one. All right, here we go. Cream cheese?
Okay, I could see why you could guess cream cheese. It's actually chèvre, which is
Okay.
goat cheese.
Yeah. All right. I haven't eaten a bunch of that before.
Wow.
So that would
Okay.
probably be why. Yeah.
Oh, man. Very good. Well, thank you so much for being a trooper,
Yeah.
trying all the cheese. And you've now officially become the cheesiest person at Justin. So congratulations.
Yep. Love the honor.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. If you loved what you saw, be sure to like, subscribe, comment below, tell us what you want to see. And we will see you the next time you kick your boots up. Thanks for joining us on Kick Your Boots Up. I'm your host, Taylor McAdams, and we can't wait to share the next story of the West. Until then, feel free to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. Follow us on social media at Justin Boots to keep up with our next episode, and we'll see you the next time you kick your boots up.